Biggest burn of all of ours right now is Jason's burn, absorbing a lot of horses up when he came back in. Both the new acquisitions went down to Jason's burn. We do have some 2-year-olds are all going to start flooding back in soon. Mario's going to get a few horses back also. Harry and Jason, some of the horses might come back up to the top barn. We'll probably take Will to Win Hanover up to the top barn. James went with her all last year. When are you starting back again, by the way, James?
I'm thinking about it tomorrow. I'm gonna reassess my contract.
You're gonna reassess your contract? Yeah, I see that. I guess it's good.
I think he says he's drank too much and he doesn't.
Oh, he'll come in tomorrow. Contract negotiations. I see. That's how it is. Okay. Anyway, we're back now with Jason's burn. So, as I said, we're going to probably take Will to Win Hanover back up. He went with her all last year and likes the filly. Anybody can go with her, but Jason has Jason's horses. I mean, this is a Pennsylvania filly. At some point, she is going to go to Pennsylvania, much like we did with Aguilera last year, hopefully for a little different result, but a little different issue. Aguilera was interfering when she went to Pennsylvania. This filly was pretty smooth her whole life. In fact, it was so weird. You know, you can't really tell anything in this game. That's a filly that I don't remember her ever being sick or ever being sore until the day she cracked a pole. So, you're always dealing with living, breathing animals. But we'll bring probably Will to Win up as we start to bring some of those 3-year-olds back in. 2-year-olds that will be turning 3 back in December. For now, Duke Dio raced. Before Duke Dio, we got our new horse, Airstrike, who we purchased last week, one of our newest acquisitions. He'll be racing tomorrow night at Mohawk Raceway under Jason for James. You know, what's there to say? He's a 7-year-old horse, got over 300,000 made, has some class there. You know what I found was so cool? I knew it, but then I didn't. I forgot about it, and then somebody brought it up again. I knew Airstrike from somewhere. Airstrike is a half-brother to Sunshine's Finest. What kind of a small world is that? I remember when we had Sunshine's Finest, his brother that was doing well was Airstrike. And I knew when we went to buy the horse, I said, geez, I know the name Airstrike from somewhere. I just can't place him. I see Irv had him. I see the people that had him. I go, geez, I just don't know why I know that name. And then it came to me, he's Sunshine's Finest brother. So very, very small world. Pretty cool. So we're going to race him tomorrow for the first time under our banner for Jason and James at Mohawk. Duke Dio, a little flat the other night. I think, James, you put it right to Jason when he said, when horses are a little weak like that, like, I thought Duke was going to get better and better and better and better and turn into a nice horse. And he might for somebody someday, but he's really missing some key elements that you would like to see from horses like him. That race last week, the 2 minutes last quarter and 28 apiece, it looked good on paper, but again, it looked similar to what happened the other night. Then you factor in a big headwind that belts them in the head when they come out of the turn. Horses that are getting a little tired and you hit them with those big headwinds, they race like Duke did, right? So we've switched gears with Duke now. I have put him on gate. I think it was fair to everybody. He's a nice horse. We're going to race him next week at Flamborough or London or somewhere, and I'm sure he'll be fine, but I expected a little bit more from him. I'll be honest, with his breeding and the talent that he could possess, he might make a decent horse someday, but he's not there. So Duke Dio ended up on gate the other day. No offers yet. If we don't, fine. I'm not going to give him away. I still think he's a useful animal on the B tracks, but he's just not what we need him to be. Compass Rose DC will be racing here this Thursday. James will be reunited with her. I don't think you drove her since that stake race as a 2-year-old. No, she's a much better horse now. Yeah, that's right. So, much better mare now. You guys know the score there. We're going to race her probably till January, February, and then breed her this year. She's one of our brood mares. So, Rosie will be coming home for that pop-up series. I'm sure there's some decent horses in there. Make no mistake, this is no slouch, this mare. She's going to be, it's going to take a good horse to make her look inferior in this class. And I think James will be very impressed with the horse he sees when she does come back. She made a break in her last start in the last turn, but she'll do that once in a while. She did that on me in a stake race last summer. The summer before, the one that just ended. Not very often, but once in a while she will. So I think Compass Rose DC sitting on a pretty good mile and with a good draw and a decent position in a decent class, I think we'll have a good result on Thursday. Crooksy, that's Brenda's horse, not a very good horse. Brenda knows that. He's not, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if he has little talent but uses it all, I'm okay with that. So I told Brenda, we'll race him once or twice more. I'll drive him this next start. He can get a little bumpy sometimes, and I want to put him in a position to do well for Brenda and you know, the connections of the colt. He's just a horse, but I would like to see the horse do well and win this week if we could. We'll see, but eyes wide open going in. He just is what he is. Globetrotting made a break off the gate on James, and both James and Jason, they're going to race her without hobbles next week. They both agreed that she doesn't need them. I mean, this is a mare that went in 52 without hobbles on, so I'm not going to disagree with them. Do I get off here at Town Line, James, or Hesper? Hesper, okay. So I'm not going to disagree. I said that all along. I think she's a much more effective horse without the hobbles on, but we'll see. Just got to put her in a bigger bike. She made a break behind the gate. It might behoove you to time her into the gate also, rather than put her nose right on it.
Just to try, but it's just it's like pulling on the incredible Hulk when she gets it.
But was she hit the bike before she got hot?
When I put her on the
I'm surprised she was so hot like that, because she was 2 fingers when Matt went with her. The only time I saw her hot out is when George just put her nose right on the gate. I think if you just time her in, she's good, but... So Globetrotting, School Good should be in to go next week. Granite Hill is back going now. We all know the score on Granite Hill. He just has to be a better horse. He's going to come back and be slow, then he's not going to be a part of our barn in 2022. We gave him all the time in the world to grow up and be a nice horse, and he looks good in Ohio. But he has to turn those looks, and he has the brains. He has to turn those looks and the brains into talent. If he can't do that, he's going to be a racehorse for somebody else. You know that. High Gear No Fear raced a little flat the other night. We're going to continue to work on him. As I said to Jason, listen, we can piss and moan about it, but at the end of the day, mechanically, there's nothing wrong with the horse. He could have been short. He could have been slipping. We're going to take the razor pads off him next week. James is going to drive him. If he doesn't, I'm going to punch him in the face. And then we're going to see he's going to race better. I'm sure he will. Hill of Magic, as I said, want to see that fracture point fill in a little bit more. She's in the pool right now. She's going to stay in the pool until the vet tells me she can start doing a little more groundwork, a little more exercise. I don't know when that'll be, but I think we all know the timeline that was set forward for her. It's quite a ways away from anywhere near the finish line of that rehab. So this is just one part in it, one hurdle she's going by right now. She's going back to exercising. Aglaire AM will be out for a month. I think the plan that I set forward to everybody was 4 to 5 weeks, bring her back, have her ready for the end of January, and race her through April. At that point, we'll decide as a 4-year-old what we want to do with her. Do we want to turn her out and bring her back in the fall? We can do that. We've never done that before. We've always raced our 3-year-olds into like January, February, and stopped them until the midsummer point almost, and really let them fill out. We can do that also, but she's going to tell us that. So we'll have her ready to go again, probably, as I said, February-ish, and race her through April, maybe the first part of May, and then we'll decide what Aglaire AM is going to look like and what her schedule is going to look like. Kathy with an I is jogging back good in Ohio. All things point to her coming back well. Now, we all know the score with Kathy with an I. She had pneumonia last year. How is that going to affect her lungs? I don't know. There's no reason and no concerns. There's no reason for us to believe that it will, or that it will to an extent where she won't be a very ineffective horse and get to the top level she can get to. There's nothing saying she can't. But she's going to have to tell us, and we won't know until we start really exerting her, and that won't be for a little bit yet. Matt's MVP, his attitude's back proper now. He was acting up a little bit when he came in. I was happy to hear that he was. I didn't want to take him back to Ontario and mess with him over here. He had he had a poor attitude last year when we turned him out, and it was. And he doesn't want to show any indications that that's going to take over his racing career. He will not be a part of this barn in 2022. So, guys having a rough day there.
Yeah, I see that.
Oh, he's taught this kid how to eat. Looks like he's eating the box and holding them.
Bagel.
He's not having a good day. So Matt's MVP really has to pull his pants up, grow up, and be a better horse. And if he's not, that guy's got to pull his pants up too. Both of them do. Yeah, both of them got to pull their pants up. So Matt's MVP, he's got a lot to prove. He has all the tools and all the ability to be a nice horse. and it would behoove him to stray to the lighter side and not the dark side when we head into 2022. My Jazz, a lot of questions with My Jazz. It's so easy for people to say she's lame, or stop with her turnaround, because they don't know, right? You guys don't know the issues at hand right now. My Jazz has had a horrible 2021, and I don't mean horrible in the sense that she's been bad. Take nothing away from this mare. She has done everything she can do to overcome, and every time she tries to come forward, something else pops up. First, it was that right foot, and it was a mess. It was... Where are we going here? Right here. It was a disgusting mess for the first part of the year. It's just one of those things that happened, and it was what started everything else. The left hind ankle started to get irritated. We worked on that. We got the right front foot cleaned up, the ankle cleaned up. The ankle was, again, putting more weight back on that right front, and her ankle, her right front ankle started to hurt her. So that's what we're dealing with right now. We had the vet go over the other day, said that the left hind, it wasn't just the ankle, it was a little roughness on the sesamoid, so he cryoed the sesamoid. She's going to miss a week. But for the people out there thinking that, oh, she's just lame everywhere and we need to stop with her, it's easy to make diagnosis from the TV, but it's quite another thing to make the actual ones. And we'll leave that to the medical professionals. I trust in what Dr. Latessa says and the path he has put forward. He knows the people at thestable.ca. If he said to me, hey, she can't race for a while, then she wouldn't. Simple as that. She wouldn't. But that is not where we're at right now with the filly. Her left hind sesamoid was cryoed the other day. We'll continue to work on that right front ankle, and then I would like to myself go over and drive her next start. That won't be next week. It'll likely be the week after. Northern Blizzard, another horse, really didn't wow me. What was your take on him, James? I talked to Jason through you, but was it
okay? I mean, just felt a little short.
Was he off? How was that right front? I didn't ask you that.
He steered pretty good. He just seemed sound.
The problem moving forward is the class he was in the other night was not the class he was supposed to be in. They actually let him in the class below that. I really expected him to have a bigger race. You know, he didn't have to win, but at least give them a scare, and he really didn't. What did he finish, third? That was only because there were some breakers and he was in a maiden. Yeah, I mean, you put him in the numbers of 2 and he gets mauled the other night. So there was an active offer for the horse before I left Ohio, which I was not prepared to take. We're going to put the horse back into race. We'll continue to race him until we change our mind in the direction we're going in with him, or until somebody wants to pay us fair market value for the horse. That's where we're at with Northern Blizzard, and it's as simple as that. Prairie Fire, super excited about this horse. This is a horse I've been really, really, really wanting to. I keep continually asking Lauren for updates on this horse. We've been galloping and galloping and galloping and galloping him. I think probably, in a perfect world, I guess I could stay overnight Tuesday and train him Wednesday, but I really got to focus on the babies here right now. So what likely will happen is I'll have Lauren train that horse around 210 in the race bike. Tell me how he feels after the training trip. That'll be in a week or so. Does he feel like he was very handy in 210? If he was, then he's close to racing. If he wasn't, then go back to galloping him until he gets to where you can train him in 2.8 or 210 and say, this horse feels really good. That's when you start pushing on the accelerator with horses like him. So 2 things have to happen. The first one is I have to get that update from Lauren saying he's ready to go. The second thing is get him rescanned by the vet again to make sure there's nothing hiding and lingering in there from whatever the hell was going on this summer. And at that point, if we get green lights across the board, might bring him back to Ontario. I'd like to see this colt race, really, to be honest, at Mohawk. People really have discounted his ability. This is a colt that already won his qualifier at 59 as a 2-year-old and then come up with some phantom injury. So I think between his maturity growing up and the work they're putting into him in Ohio, this colt could be a good colt for us this winter. And again, if he looks he's going to be really, really good, we'll probably only race him 2 or 3 times and go back to a really light schedule with him until the next one. Yeah, Laurel, is that it? Until the Hackett. So that's the plan with our boy Prairie Fire. Rose above it. Same type of thing without the concerns of an injury because he never had one. Put lots of work into him. They've been putting some galloping trips into him. They'll probably train him in 2.8 again. Same type of thing. Lauren, tell me when he's ready to go. This guy, though, will we bring him back? He's a Pennsylvania bred. He may end up in the Meadows throughout the winter, but I'll take a closer look at him. This is another horse I want to get a good look at when I do land at Northfield on Tuesday. We're down here, but yeah. Stonebridge Simba continues to race. Been a great horse for us. This horse, really, really impressed with him. Twinbee Habanero is a horse that definitely will be coming back home. He's as big as a house now. Wait until you see this guy, James. He's got to be 1,100 pounds. He is a monster in the burn and looks very, very good. White Tiger's been fantastic for Jason and for Amy. Will to Win Hanover, as I said, will likely be coming back up to the top burn at some point when we start bringing all these babies back in. And then for now, until we get her closer closer to racing. And then yes, has been awesome. He's racing tonight, our lone starter in Northfield Park. So that's Jason's burn. That's all the burns James is done. Where the hell are you going?
Yeah, wave maker. They've been
What's a wave maker?
it's a craft brewery.
Are you guys playing hide and seek or?
What's this crap?
I have no idea.
That's what the judges were in Scioto.
Doesn't seem like
There's
they're
no
here.
one.
That's alright. They'll be here soon.
Okay, we just get up and sit on your hands.
Um,
Anyway, we're dumping James off. Those are the burns. We will talk to you all very, very soon.